I took the wrong exit off the 110 at 1:17 a.m. The GPS died. The streets went empty, and when I stopped at a red light, I saw it in my rear-view mirror. By the time I understood the rule, I'd already broken it 3 times. This is HideRush. The client dinner ran late. Evan Miller left the restaurant in Century City at 12:53 a.m., loosening his tie as he walked to the parking garage. 4 drinks in him. Not enough to be drunk, enough to feel the edges blur. His phone buzzed. Sarah, his wife. "You leave yet?" he texted back while walking. "Heading home now." "Drive safe. Love you." He didn't respond. He was already at the car. The 10 was clear. He merged onto the 110 south, heading toward Pasadena. The city glowed around him. Neon signs, brake lights in the distance, the hum of Los Angeles at its lowest volume. The GPS spoke in its flat, calm voice. "Continue for 8 miles. Evan rubbed his eyes. He'd done this drive 1,000 times. Muscle memory. He barely needed the GPS. But then his phone died. The screen went black mid-navigation. He pressed the power button. Nothing. Perfect. No problem. He knew the exits. He'd take the 5 north, cut through Highland Park, be home in 20 minutes. Except when he looked up, he'd already passed the interchange. The freeway split ahead of him. 2 routes he didn't recognize. No signs, just darkness and the distant red smear of taillights a mile up. He took the right exit. The off-ramp curved down into a part of downtown he didn't know. Warehouses, shuttered storefronts, streetlights throwing orange pools onto cracked pavement. He slowed at a stoplight, completely red. No cross-traffic, no pedestrians, just him and the empty city. He glanced at the passenger seat, looking for his charging cable, and saw something that hadn't been there before. A disposable camera. Yellow plastic. Kodak. The kind you bought at CVS in the 90s. Evan stared at it. He didn't own a disposable camera. He hadn't seen one in years. And it definitely wasn't in his car when he got in. He picked it up. It was real. Solid. The cardboard wheel turned under his thumb. It still had exposures left. 22. The light turned green. He set the camera down and drove. The streets got narrower, tighter. Buildings leaned in. He passed a shuttered taco shop, a check-cashing place with bars on the windows, a parking structure with a busted gate hanging open. No people, no cars. Just the hum of his engine and the distant wail of a siren somewhere far off. His hands tightened on the wheel. "I know this city. I've lived here 20 years. I know how to get home." He turned left, then right, then left again. Every street looked the same. And then he saw the figure. It was standing under an overpass. Tall, maybe 6'5", wearing a coat that hung too long, and a mask. Smooth, pale, featureless except for 2 eye holes. No mouth. It wasn't moving, just standing there, facing the road. Facing him. Evan's foot eased off the gas. The car slowed. 30 miles an hour. 25. The figure tilted its head and took a step forward. Evan's stomach dropped. He pressed the gas and the car lurched ahead, engine growling. He blew past the overpass, doing 50. In the rear-view mirror, the figure was gone. He drove for 10 minutes without seeing another soul. No cars, no lights in windows, just empty streets and the orange glow of streetlights. He tried his phone again, still dead. He tried the radio, static on every station. Okay, I'll find a gas station, ask for directions, charge my phone. He saw one up ahead, an old Shell station, lights still on, but no cars at the pumps. He pulled in, stopped, got out. The air was still, warm. It smelled like oil and exhaust. Hello? No answer. The convenience store door was propped open. Fluorescent lights buzzed inside. Aisles of chips and candy and motor oil. A register. No clerk. Anyone here? Nothing. He stepped back toward his car and heard footsteps. Not from inside the store, from behind him, on pavement. Slow, even, deliberate. Step, step, step. He turned. The figure stood 20 feet away. Same coat, same mask. It had followed him. Evan's breath caught. Hey, I'm just... The figure took another step. Evan ran. He got in the car, locked the doors, started the engine. The figure was walking toward him now, not fast, but not stopping. He threw the car in reverse and peeled out of the gas station. He drove without thinking, turned down side streets, cut through alleys, ran 2 red lights. His heart was slamming in his chest. What the hell was that? He didn't know, didn't want to know. He just needed to get home. He found himself in a parking structure. He didn't remember turning into it, but here he was, spiraling up the ramps, level after level, until he reached the roof. Empty, just painted lines and concrete barriers and the glow of the city beyond. He stopped the car, killed the engine, sat there, breathing. His hands were shaking. It's fine. It's over. Just some guy. Some weirdo. It's fine. He looked at the passenger seat. The disposable camera was still there. He picked it up, turned it over. There was something written on the back in faded ink. Don't stop the car. His blood went cold. He dropped the camera and heard it. Footsteps on concrete, echoing up from the levels below. Step, step, step. Getting closer. Evan started the car. His hands fumbled with the keys. The engine coughed, turned over, roared to life. He looked in the rear view mirror. The figure was at the top of the ramp, walking toward him. Not fast, not slow, just walking. Evan floored it. The tires screamed. He shot forward, heading for the exit ramp on the far side of the roof. The figure didn't run, didn't chase. It just watched. Evan descended the spiral, round and round. Level 6, level 5, level 4. And then he saw it again. Standing at the bottom of the ramp on level 3. Waiting. How? He slammed the brakes. The car skidded, stopped 10 feet from the figure. It tilted its head. Evan threw the car in reverse, spun the wheel, took a different ramp. Down, down, down. Level 2, level 1, exit ahead. He gunned it, and the figure stepped out from behind a concrete pillar, right in front of him. Evan screamed. He swerved. The car clipped a barrier, metal shrieking, and he barely kept control as he shot out onto the street. He drove for an hour, maybe more. The streets never looked familiar. The city stretched on forever, A maze of alleys and dead ends and one-way roads that led nowhere. He tried stopping twice more, once at a 7-Eleven, once at a park. Both times, the figure appeared within minutes, and Evan learned the rule. It only comes when you stop. So he didn't stop. He kept driving, took turns at random, left, right, straight through intersections when the lights were red, because stopping meant seeing it again. His gas gauge dropped. 3/4, half, a quarter. I need gas. I need to stop, but I can't stop. He passed the same liquor store 3 times, the same burned-out streetlight, the same graffitied wall that said, "Seen," in red spray paint. The city was looping, or he was. At 2:47 a.m., he found himself on a residential street he didn't recognize. Bungalows with chain-link fences, dead lawns, a dog barking somewhere in the distance. His phone, still dead, sat in the cup holder. The disposable camera sat in the passenger seat. He hadn't touched it since the parking structure. But now, sitting at a stop sign, engine idling, foot hovering over the gas, he picked it up again, turned it over. The message was still there. Don't stop the car. But there was something else now, something he hadn't noticed before. A second line, smaller, scratched into the plastic with something sharp. It knows where you live. Evan's hands tightened on the wheel. He looked up. The figure stood in the middle of the intersection, 50 feet away, facing him. He pressed the gas. The car lurched forward. The figure didn't move. Evan swerved around it, tires squealing, and kept going. In the rearview mirror, it turned its head, watching him go. It knows where you live. Evan's mind raced. Sarah was home, asleep. She didn't know. She didn't know anything. He had to get home, had to warn her, had to... No. If he went home, he'd have to stop. And if he stopped, he couldn't go home. He drove east, away from Pasadena, away from his house, away from Sarah. The streets started to change. Warehouses gave way to industrial parks, chain-link fences and shipping containers, and the distant glow of the rail yard. He was running out of city. And then he saw the bridge. The 6th Street Viaduct, empty, lit from below by sodium lights that turned everything the color of old photographs. Evan drove onto it. The bridge stretched ahead of him, arcing over the dry concrete of the LA River. No other cars, no movement, just him and the hum of his engine and the wind. Halfway across, the engine sputtered. No, 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 no. The gas gauge was on empty. The car coughed, jerked, slowed. Come on, come on. The engine died. The car rolled to a stop in the center of the bridge. Evan sat there, hands on the wheel, breathing. The city hummed around him. Distant traffic, a helicopter somewhere far off, the wind rattling chain link. And then he heard it. Footsteps on pavement, getting closer. He looked in the rearview mirror. The figure was walking toward him from the far end of the bridge. He looked in the side mirror. Another figure, walking from the opposite direction. He looked out the windshield. A third figure stood in front of the car, 20 feet away. Oh, God. Evan tried the ignition. Nothing. The battery was dead. Everything was dead. He was trapped. The figures closed in, slow, methodical. 3 pale masks reflecting the sodium lights. Evan's hand shot to the door handle. He could run. He could... Where? The bridge was a quarter-mile long, chain link on both sides. Nowhere to go. The figures stopped, 10 feet away, surrounding the car. They stood there, watching. And then the one in front tilted its head and raised its hand. It pointed at the disposable camera on the passenger seat. Evan looked down at it, the camera. He didn't want to touch it, didn't want to know. But the figure kept pointing. Evan picked it up. His hands were shaking so badly he almost dropped it. He turned the cardboard wheel, advanced the film, raised the camera to his eye, and looked through the viewfinder at the figure in front of him. Through the viewfinder, he could see what was under the mask. Nothing. Not a face, not skin, not bone, just empty space. A void shaped like a person. The flash popped. The three figures stepped back, all at once, in perfect unison. The car's engine turned over. Evan didn't question it. He slammed the gas and the car shot forward. The figure in front dove out of the way, moved faster than anything that size should move, and Evan was past it, speeding toward the end of the bridge. In the rearview mirror, all three figures stood in the center of the bridge, watching. And then they were gone. Evan didn't slow down. He took the first exit he saw, merged onto surface streets, kept driving. The gas gauge still read empty, but the car kept going. His phone buzzed. Evan nearly jumped out of his seat. He looked down. The screen was lit up. Full battery. 3:41 a.m. A text from Sarah. "You okay? You've been gone a long time." His hands were shaking. He pulled over and immediately regretted it. He sat there, engine running, eyes on the mirrors, waiting. Nothing appeared. He texted back with trembling fingers. "Almost home. Sorry, got lost." Her reply came instantly. "Drive safe. Love you." Evan stared at the words. "Love you too." He drove. The streets became familiar again. He recognized landmarks, the taco shop on Figueroa, the old movie theater on Colorado, the 7-Eleven where he bought coffee every morning. He was close to home. By the time he turned onto his street, the sky was starting to lighten, deep purple, bleeding into gray. His house sat at the end of the cul-de-sac, porch light still on, Sarah's car in the driveway. Normal. Safe. Evan pulled into the driveway, put the car in park, turned off the engine, and sat there, waiting. Nothing happened. He looked at the passenger seat. The disposable camera was still there. He picked it up, looked at the back. The writing was gone, just smooth yellow plastic. No messages, no scratches. Evan got out of the car. The air was cool. Birds were starting to wake up. A neighbor's sprinkler hissed in the distance. He walked to the front door, put his key in the lock, stopped, looked back at the street. Empty. Sarah was in the kitchen when he walked in. She looked up from her coffee. "You okay? You look awful." Evan set his keys on the counter. His hands were still shaking. "Got lost. Downtown." "Lost? In LA?" "Yeah." She frowned. "Your phone die?" "Yeah." She reached for it, plugged it into the charger. It buzzed. Full battery. No missed calls. No alerts. Weird. Must have been a glitch. Evan didn't respond. He walked to the window and looked out at the street. Empty. Quiet. normal. But in the reflection of the glass, he saw it. The disposable camera, still sitting on the passenger seat of his car. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to Sarah breathe beside him. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the mask, the empty space behind it. At 3 a.m. he got up, went downstairs, made coffee he didn't drink. He sat at the kitchen table in the dark and stared at his phone. The GPS app was open. He hadn't opened it. The route was still displayed. Downtown LA, a mess of red lines and dead ends and circles that looped back on themselves. He'd driven for hours, gone nowhere. He closed the app, opened his photos. There was a new photo. He didn't remember taking it. It was a picture of the bridge, the 6th Street Viaduct, taken from inside his car. And in the distance, barely visible in the sodium light, 3 figures, standing, watching. Evan deleted the photo. His hand was shaking. He didn't drive for 3 days, took the bus to work, made excuses, said his car was in the shop. Sarah asked if he was okay. He said he was fine. He wasn't fine. Every night, he heard footsteps outside, on the sidewalk, on gravel, on pavement. Step, step, step. He'd go to the window, look out. Nothing. But when he'd get back in bed, he'd hear them again, closer. On the 4th day, he went to the car. The disposable camera was gone. He'd looked everywhere, checked the seats, the floor, the trunk. Gone. He told himself that was good. That meant it was over. But that night, he found it on his nightstand, right next to his side of the bed. Sarah was asleep. She hadn't put it there. Evan picked it up. The cardboard wheel turned. 18 exposures left. He'd taken 1 photo, on the bridge. That meant 5 photos were missing. He took the camera to a Walgreens the next morning, dropped it off for development. The clerk, a kid with headphones, barely looking at him, said it'd be ready in an hour. Evan sat in his car in the parking lot and waited. When the photos came back, there were only 17 in the envelope. The clerk said 1 didn't develop. Something wrong with the exposure. Evan opened the envelope in his car. The first photo was of his living room, taken from the doorway, at night. The second was of his bedroom, Sarah asleep in bed. The third was of his driveway, his car, taken from the street. The fourth was of the bridge, the 3 figures. The fifth was of him, asleep in bed, taken from the foot of the bed. Evan's breath stopped. In the bottom right corner of each photo, written in pencil, in handwriting that wasn't his, "Don't stop the car." Evan drove home, didn't stop at red lights, didn't slow down. He burst through the front door. "Sarah!" She came out of the kitchen, startled. "What's wrong? Did anyone come to the house? Last night? Anyone?" "No. Why? What? Are you sure?" "Yes, Evan, I'm sure. What's going on?" He showed her the photos. She stared at them. "Where did these come from?" "I don't know. The camera. It was in the car. I don't... Did you take these?" "No." Sarah looked at the photo of her sleeping, then at Evan. "Who took this?" Evan didn't answer. He didn't have an answer. They called the police. An officer came, looked at the photos, took a report, said it was probably a prank. Kids, someone with a spare key. He suggested changing the locks, installing cameras. They did both. It didn't help. 2 weeks later, Evan was driving home from work. It was late, after midnight. He'd stayed late to avoid traffic. The freeway was empty. His phone buzzed, a text from Sarah. "When will you be home?" He texted back, 20 minutes. The GPS rerouted. "Take the next exit." Evan looked at the screen. It was the same exit, the one he'd taken that night. No. He kept driving, ignored the GPS. "Take the next exit. Take the next exit." The screen glitched, turned black, then white, and a message appeared in red text. "Don't stop the car." Evan looked in the rear-view mirror and saw the figure, standing in the back seat. Evan screamed. The car swerved. He yanked the wheel, almost clipped the barrier, corrected. His eyes shot to the rear-view mirror. The figure sat motionless in the back seat, pale mask, empty eyes, staring at him. "No, no, 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 no." He slammed the brakes, and the figure leaned forward. Its hand reached toward him. Evan hit the gas. The car lurched. He checked the mirror again. The figure was still there, hadn't moved, just sitting, watching. "What do you want?" No answer. "What do you want from me?" The figure tilted its head and pointed at the passenger seat. Evan looked. The disposable camera was there again. He'd thrown it away. He'd watched the trash truck take it. It didn't matter. It was always going to come back. Evan picked up the camera with one hand, kept the other on the wheel. The car was doing 70, 80. He didn't know where he was going, just away. He raised the camera, looked through the viewfinder, turned it toward the back seat. Through the viewfinder, he could see it clearly now. Not just emptiness, a shape, moving, writhing inside the coat. Something that wasn't supposed to exist in 3 dimensions. Oh, God. The flash went off. The figure vanished. Evan looked in the mirror. Empty back seat. He looked at the passenger seat. The camera was smoking. The plastic was melting. The cardboard wheel had warped. 17 exposures left. And new writing on the back. Fresh. Still wet. "You can't stop." Evan's phone rang. Sarah. He answered. Put it on speaker. "Evan? Evan, where are you?" I'm on the freeway. I'm coming home." "There's someone outside. I can hear them. On the porch. Evan, I'm scared." "Lock the doors. All of them. Don't go outside. I'm coming." The line went dead. "Sarah!" Nothing. Evan floored it. 90, 95. The exit for his neighborhood was ahead. He took it without slowing. He blew through stop signs, ran red lights. The streets blurred. His street, his house. The porch light was off. He slammed the brakes in the driveway, threw the car in park, ran to the front door. It was open. "Sarah!" He stepped inside. The house was dark, silent. "Sarah?" A sound from upstairs. Footsteps on hardwood. Step, step, step. Evan moved toward the stairs. His phone buzzed. A text from Sarah's number. He looked at the screen. A photo of him standing in the foyer, right now, taken from the top of the stairs. Below the photo, a message. "Don't stop the car." Evan turned, ran back to the car. got in, locked the doors, started the engine. He looked up at the bedroom window. 3 figures stood there, looking down at him. The middle one raised its hand, waved. Evan reversed out of the driveway, tires screaming. He didn't look back. He drove, didn't know where, didn't care, just drove. The sun came up. The gas gauge never moved. His phone was full of missed calls. Sarah, his boss, his mother. He didn't answer. The camera sat on the passenger seat. 16 exposures left. The writing on the back had changed again. You understand now. And he did. He understood. He could never stop. Not at home, not at a gas station, not anywhere. The moment he stopped, they would come. And they would take everything. That was 6 months ago. Evan doesn't remember what Sarah's voice sounds like anymore. He doesn't remember the address of his house. He doesn't remember what it feels like to sleep in a bed. He just drives. He's learned the patterns. Gas stations at dawn are safe. He can stop for 3 minutes, fill the tank, use the bathroom, buy coffee. Any longer, and he sees them in the mirrors. Rest stops are dangerous. Parks are worse. Residential streets at night are impossible. The freeway is safest. The 10th, the 110th, the 101st. Long stretches where he can go fast and nothing can catch him. Sometimes he sees other drivers, late at night, alone in their cars. He wonders if they're like him, if they took the wrong exit, if they found a camera they didn't recognize. He wonders if they learned the rule in time. The disposable camera is still in the passenger seat. He stopped checking how many exposures are left. It doesn't matter. The writing changes every few days. Sometimes it says, "Don't stop the car." Sometimes it says, "Keep driving." Once it said, "She's waiting." He doesn't know what that means. He doesn't want to know. 2 weeks ago, he drove past his old house. He didn't mean to. The GPS took him there. The porch light was on. Sarah's car was in the driveway. He slowed down, just for a second. And he saw her, standing in the window, looking out at the street. She looked tired, older. She was holding a phone. He wanted to stop, wanted to get out, wanted to tell her he was sorry, that he didn't mean to leave, that he... But then he saw it. Standing behind her, in the window, the figure, pale mask, empty eyes, watching him. Evan pressed the gas. He hasn't gone back. He's thought about just stopping, pulling over, turning off the engine, letting them come. But he's seen what they do to the ones who stop. He's seen the missing person posters at rest stops, the abandoned cars on the shoulder, the shoes left on the pavement. So he keeps driving. It's late now, after midnight. The freeway is empty. Evan's hands are steady on the wheel. His gas tank is half full. His phone is dead, has been for months. The disposable camera sits on the passenger seat. The cardboard wheel turns on its own sometimes. In the rear-view mirror, the road stretches out behind him. Dark, empty. Except for the 3 figures, standing in the distance, watching. They don't chase anymore. They don't need to. They know he'll never stop. Evan turns his eyes back to the road and keeps driving. Because the only thing worse than never stopping is finding out what happens when you do. Don't move. Don't breathe. Someone is already looking for you. This is HideRush.